What's up, budget builders? My name is Trail, and on this channel we talk about stimulus update news, the current infrastructure bill on the table with the House of Representatives and with the Senate right now. The first part of the infrastructure bill is the bipartisan bill that has already passed in the Senate and currently sitting with the House of Representatives, where Nancy Pelosi and the gang are creating a stalemate on voting on this piece of legislation. And then you have the second part of the infrastructure bill, where this is currently sitting with the Senate while trying to pass the budget resolution bill, also known as the human infrastructure bill, which that one could offer additional stimulus relief aid to the American people in several forms, such as the additional SNAP food stamp benefits on top of the 30% increase that we saw on Monday, as well as rental assistance, child care, child tax credit extensions, and adult tax credits, and then money for education, which 2-year of free community colleges will be offered, and many other things as well. And hopefully a fourth stimulus check will be included as well. The Democrats are trying to pass this bill using the budget reconciliation process, where they don't need to have the typical 60 votes in order to pass this bill. They are trying to bypass the support of any Republicans in passing this bill. And this week we have more supporters of the fourth stimulus checks to be $2,000 monthly stimulus payments. This support has been growing more and more this year. And now that our economy has taken another turn for the worse, to push to make this a reality is growing every day. $2,000 stimulus checks is what they are calling for. Who is pushing for this, you ask? Well, multiple lawmakers, but more specifically, 20 senators, as well as about 3 million Americans have also signed petitions to make this a reality. But let's go ahead and talk about it today. But before we get started, if this is your first time to the channel, hey, welcome and glad to have you. On this channel, we talk about finance, real estate, credit cards, Bitcoin and crypto, and stimulus update news. So if you're interested in any of those, go ahead and hit the subscribe button for me. That way you can join our community. Also, if you end up liking the content in this video or even laughing at one of my jokes, then be sure to like this video. Other than that, guys, hey, let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Okay, guys, here we are in the middle of August and things are getting worse. Things are getting worse for businesses as well as for jobs and for the American people. The eviction moratorium is causing people to lose their homes with no place to turn to. Americans are still hoping that a fourth stimulus check is going to be included in the budget resolution bill, which is currently sitting with the Senate waiting for a vote to pass in order to be voted on with the House of Representatives following. This bill is also known to be as the human infrastructure bill, which would be for the American people, providing things like the child tax credit extension through the year of 2025, as well as child care and family support services, as well as education like free 2-year community colleges, as well as the potential of getting an adult tax credit and a few other things as well. Some people want to know, just how close are we to getting a fourth stimulus check? Well, as things in this country are not getting any better, which they are actually getting worse by the day, with virus cases soaring to record highs we haven't seen since 2020, we are probably moving closer to a fourth stimulus check as of now than we have been in the past. I came across this article right here and it reads, "Here's how close Americans are getting $2,000 monthly stimulus checks." Here in this article, they talk about the famous petition that started last year by a Denver restaurant owner by the name of Stephanie Bonin and her husband. This petition was calling for $2,000 monthly payments for adults and $1,000 payments for children until the pandemic is over. Well, since then, that petition has gotten over 2.7 million signatures and still counting. Just last week, the petition received 40,000 signatures in just 1 week. As Americans are still unable to return back to work safely and still struggling to pay their rent and keep food on the table, Americans really need another stimulus payment. But these petitions are getting stronger by the day. Even though this petition is the most popular petition for most people, there have been several other petitions pop up since then. And with combining all of them together, there are now more than 3 million signatures thus far. But the real question is, are these petitions from the American people really enough to gain traction from Congress to force another round of stimulus relief aid? This article right here asks the question, will petitions have an effect on decision making? Well, maybe not enough by themselves, but when you have the support of 20 senators supporting $2,000 monthly stimulus checks, then you have the powers that be behind this effort. It's been proven that multiple times how stimulus checks have been able to prevent Americans from falling into poverty. Because let's face it, guys, most Americans were not prepared for this type of crisis to hit us all at once. Now, according to a CBC article, it says that many Americans couldn't afford a $400 expense prior to the pandemic, and stimulus checks were able to help Americans through these tough times. And then we can see the message from Robert Reich, which is an American economist and a former U.S. Secretary of Labor. He said back in late July that, great news, we've had a 45% drop in poverty. Not great news, the three programs that cut poverty the most was stimulus checks, increased food stamps, and expanded unemployment insurance. These have all ended or will soon to be ended and revert to their pre-pandemic levels. So yes, stimulus checks have done a great deal for Americans who really need it the most. And then those stimulus checks that were given to middle class people and the rich people just pretty much went into their bank accounts as additional income. So, as the economy continues to get back worse, Congress will have no choice in adding a fourth stimulus check to the budget resolution bill. And considering this bill is the largest that we have ever seen at $3.5 trillion, there is a lot of room to include a fourth stimulus check. And it should even be even easier because the Democrats plan to use the budget reconciliation process to pass this bill without the support of Republicans. So progressive Democrats are wanting to go even bigger on this bill as well, which means we could even see more than just a one-time stimulus check. We could even see monthly stimulus checks being provided in the fourth stimulus package, which we now have 20 senators supporting this call of action. We can see in this article right here that more than 20 senators are pushing for reoccurring $2,000 monthly stimulus payments. It says more than 20 Democratic senators are reportedly pushing for reoccurring checks worth up to $2,000 to be introduced. The demands come as the White House remains reluctant to introduce a fourth round of checks. Senators Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, and Cory Booker are among politicians calling for reoccurring payments. They think that $1,400 check isn't sufficient to help cash-strapped families. And I must say, guys, I agree with this. Just like the 30% increase in SNAP food stamp benefits that we saw on Monday by President Biden, even though 30% increase is huge and the largest we have ever seen in over 45 years, it's still not enough for most Americans compared to the food price increases that we have seen over the past 6 months. The increases are much needed, but it's still not enough, guys. Now, in a letter, they said these payments have helped families out of poverty, but they also act as an economic stimulus by increasing spending and supporting jobs. Now is the time for boldness. The lawmakers didn't state how the large payments should be, but Congresswoman Representative Ilhan Omar is among Democrats calling for checks worth up to $2,000 to be introduced. It's reported that more than 150 economists, including Jason Furman, who was part of the Obama administration, backed calls for direct stimulus payments last year. They argued that checks would boost spending and reducing the length of the recession caused by the pandemic. And as I stated earlier, not just lawmakers are calling for the extra cash, as several petitions have been signed by more than 3 million Americans. Those petitions specifically discuss the hit low-income earners have seen since the start of the pandemic. And Stephanie Bonner warns lawmakers that Americans are facing large debts for utilities, rent, and childcare. She says that stimulus checks should be targeted at Americans who are struggling, and she instructed politicians that they need to learn from the past year. Bonin added that moving forward, Congress needs to make recurring checks automatic if certain triggers are met. No more waiting around for our government to send the help that we need. The petition will be one of the top signed on change.org if it reaches the 3 million signatures that it originally proposed, and it should reach that goal sometime in September. Now, we also saw back where House Ways and Means Committee lawmakers are also pushing for recurring stimulus checks to be used to help keep millions of Americans out of poverty. In a letter signed by 7 members of the House and Ways and Means Committee, they said the pandemic has served as a stark reminder that families and workers need certainty in a crisis. They deserve to know that they can put food on the table and keep a roof over their heads. And then, according to a recent survey, the last round of stimulus checks helped improve Americans' ability to buy food, pay bills, as well as reduce anxiety and depression. It took 9 months for Congress to send a second stimulus check and just moments to spend it. Moving forward, Congress needs to make recurring checks automatic if certain triggers are met. So, there it is. We have multiple senators calling for recurring stimulus payments to be $2,000 going forward. You have multiple Ways and Means Committee members calling for recurring payments as well. And you have millions of Americans signing an online petition calling for $2,000 monthly stimulus checks for adults and $1,000 payments for children. All of these combined with the fact that things are getting worse than they are getting better, with more virus cases being reported each day, with mass mandates popping up everywhere, as well as corporations requiring employees to be vaccinated. It's time for another round of stimulus aid to be released to the American people to provide the necessary relief aid to weather through these economic times or until the pandemic is officially over. Hopefully, after this wave of virus infections, this will be the last and final time. And hopefully, the U.S. can bounce back stronger than ever and things can return back to some form of normalcy again. And with the current stimulus bill on the table being the largest we have ever seen, $3.5 trillion is definitely enough money to make a fourth stimulus check a reality. But unfortunately, we have Congress at the forefront to make the decisions for the American people that don't look like them, nor have the bank accounts that look like theirs. So we hope that they can understand the dire need and make the right decision to include a fourth stimulus check or recurring monthly stimulus checks in the next stimulus package. I will keep you guys posted on potentially follow-ups regarding these petition signatures as well as any fourth stimulus check updates. Now, in other news, you know there has been an ongoing battle with the governors of Texas and Florida, which are the 2 states reporting the most virus cases right now. But those governors have been fighting to prevent school districts from making their own decisions to require masks in schools. Some school districts in both states have decided to go against the governor's mandates by requiring students to wear a mask during school. Well, originally Governor DeSantis of Florida threatened to withhold paychecks from faculty leaders for forcing students to wear a mask. That was about 2 weeks ago. And since then, those school districts still went along with mandating masks. But now the governor is threatening to remove those school officials who disobey his orders. Yes, this is a real headline, guys. The governor is threatening to fire those school leaders for taking action to protect their students from the deadly virus. Do you guys think this is fair? Do you guys think that this is the right decision by the governor of Florida? I personally think that this should be left up to the school districts and not the governor of the state. But let me know what you guys think about this. And then also, the governor of my home state, Texas, which is Governor Greg Abbott, announced on Tuesday that he has contracted the virus and will be quarantining for the next 2 weeks. They are saying that he is experiencing no symptoms at this time, but he is fully vaccinated. Abbott has been a big advocate of being vaccinated, but he does not support the issue of wearing masks. Well, he has tested positive on Tuesday, but on Monday night, he was actually at an event in San Antonio where most attendants did not wear masks. All of those people have come in contact with him have all been notified, and that's how quickly the virus can spread. Hopefully, he has a full recovery. Now, in other news, TSA, or the Transportation Security Administration, the ones that protect and screen people at the airport, have announced on Tuesday that the mask mandates at the airport and while traveling will be extended through January the 18th of next year. They said that the Delta variant is highly contagious and they are trying to minimize the spread of COVID to the public. And then real quick, an interesting fact is that the Federal Aviation Aviation Administration, or the FAA, has received over 2,800 reports of passengers in violation of the federal mask mandate. And I'm pretty sure that number will continue to go up. But anyways, guys, hey, that's all I have for you today. This has been another fourth stimulus check update, as well as your daily news bites. Now, if you enjoyed any of this information or found it to be useful, be sure to hit the like button for me. It definitely helps out a lot, and it also tells YouTube to share this video with others. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button for me so that you can be a part of this community, and hit the notification bell to be notified of each new video. Again, as always, hey, I appreciate you guys stopping by and watching, and I hope to see you on the next video. Peace.